If you want to start your own podcast or you're a solo podcaster and you're trying to figure out how to set up your podcast room, this video is for you. So I've been doing content creator for like 7+ years. I am a beauty influencer here on YouTube. My main channel is Slim Reshae, and I've expanded to being on multiple platforms, all the things. So if you guys enjoyed like the different looks and stuff that I gave y'all during season 3 of the podcast, make sure you check out my main channel, Slim Reshae. That's where all the makeup beats and the hairstyles and all the things are over there. But if you are here because you're a content creator yourself, or you're interested in like knowing the behind the scenes of the content creator lifestyle, this is a video for you. So when starting my podcast, I feel like I didn't really have much to go off of, so I kind of was just like figuring out along the way, and I always wanted to know what people's setups look like. So I want to share with you guys a version of my podcast setup. So this right here is actually where I filmed season 3 of the podcast, and I'll be showing you guys the lighting, the equipment, and what it looks like for a one camera angle solo podcast filming setup. So let's get into it. First things first, the mic I use for my podcast is a PreSonus PD70. So this mic will run you about $100 if I'm not mistaken. I'll link it in the description box below. Everything I mentioned in today's video will be linked down below so you guys can find it, purchase it, and get your podcast started. But this is the mic that I use. This is one of my favorite mics. I can do like a mic haul if you guys are interested in like different mics with different price points and the quality of them. So comment below if you guys would like to see an in-depth video on my mic collection. But yeah, I use this mic. I love it so much. I feel like it gives me high quality audio, and it's just perfect for a podcast. Even if you're not doing a video podcast and you're just doing audio, if you're just doing audio, you want your audio podcast to be top tier sound quality. So I definitely recommend this mic. Now, if you do use a mic like this, you will have to get a few different accessories in order to be able to actually get the sound off this mic. So this mic has an XLR port. So you basically have to get a cable like this, which is an XLR cable, and you just plug it into the bottom of the mic, right? So that's your cable connection. Now, the thing that's going to be connected on the other end of this mic is going to be a recorder. So I like to use this Zoom H4n recorder. This recorder is absolutely amazing. There are, again, more affordable options. If you guys are looking for like an affordable, how to start your podcast, equipment, video, let me know in the comment section below, because I can definitely do that and bust out and dust off the stuff that I used when I first started. If you use the PD70 mic and you have like an XLR cable connection, I recommend getting a recorder like this because you can plug it directly into this recorder. So another good thing about this recorder is it actually has 2 slots. So say if you have a guest on your podcast and you have 2 mics, then you can plug their mic into the second slot, and then you'll have 2 different audio recordings. And it can be helpful because then you can have both mic audios without them like being one channel. So say if y'all are accidentally talking over one or another, you can edit it in post because you'll have 2 different recordings of each mic when you plug it into this Zoom. Now, there's a whole bunch of different functions. If you guys want more information on this recorder in itself, just let me know. I'll be glad to share with you guys the stuff that I know. It records to an SD card. I always struggle opening this thing because I be having on nails, y'all. But it records to an SD card, 32 gigs or less. And then I actually found a like AC adapter to plug this in, because this bad boy, it can take 2 AA batteries in the back, but they run through batteries so quickly. So I definitely recommend, if you get this, to get the AC adapter that goes with it. So you got your mic, you got your XLR cable, you have your AC adapter, the SD card that goes in it. Another thing I will say is, if you don't have a mic and you just want to invest in this, because sometimes I feel like the mics are really for the look of the podcast, because you can still record quality audio without actually having a mic. I feel like a mic is a little bit more necessary when you have multiple people on your podcast, so you can hear each voice clearly and record each mic. But if you're doing a solo podcast, you really could start off with like a boom mic that connects to your camera, like I'm recording on right now. Or if you invest in something like this recorder, this actually is a built-in mic. So you literally can just talk into this and it actually will record your voice. Just to give you guys an example of what the PD70 mic sounds like, this is what it sounds like, and it is currently recording to my Zoom recorder. Now I will also share with you guys how it sounds off of just the Zoom recorder mic. I'm gonna place this at arm length away, and you can set this up on a tripod, but this is the audio from the built-in mics that are on the Zoom recorder. So you can use that as well. If you do not have a mic to plug into it, it does have a built-in mic as well. So you could use that, and this is what the audio sounds like. Outside of those things, the last thing you'll need for audio is gonna be a mic stand or a mic arm. So I have this mic arm that literally bends, so you can place it where you need to have the mic, and the mic literally just screws on right here. The bottom piece goes into a clamp that'll fit on most like desktops or tables that are like maybe an inch wide or whatever. So these arms are very affordable, they're not expensive at all. So I've had my fair share of trying out different mic stands and stuff like that. I really love this one because I think it's affordable and I can move it where I need it, so my mic is positioned well during my podcast, and I just think it sounds good. If you're filming a video podcast, you're gonna need something to capture video on. Now you can start off with like an iPhone and stuff like that. I'm gonna share with you guys my first DSLR camera that films really good quality video. This is the camera that I use. This is the Canon 80D. And I love this camera. It got a little bumps and bruises because I've had it for some years and done some experiments with it. But nonetheless, this is a very good camera. Great for photo, great for video, and it connects with like a remote. So if you want to trigger the recording or take your thumbnail photos, you can connect like a Bluetooth remote with this as well. So currently the lens I have on here is the 24mm lens, which is pretty wide, but I can also suggest the 18 to 35mm lens. And if you guys want like tech details and more information on how to understand which lens you should buy, comment below, because I have a lot of lenses, so I can share with you guys my knowledge on what lenses I like to use for what videos. So currently, like I said, this is the 24mm lens. It is very wide. It can go down to a f2.8, which will blur the background just a little bit. One thing I really love about this camera is that the LED screen flips out, so when I'm filming I can see myself right here. This Canon also works with the Canon Connect app, I believe it's called. So if you have like your phone or an iPad where you want to live view what you're shooting, so say if the camera's too far away for you to see this LED screen, you can connect it to your phone or your iPad and sit it close by, so you can make sure you're still in focus, you're still in frame, especially if you're shooting by yourself. For me, this LED screen works fine because this room is not that big, so I can easily, see what I need to see when filming with this camera. I would definitely recommend getting a tripod to put your camera on, but if it's the meantime between time and you don't got no tripod and you trying to save some money, stack some books up or something and prop it up on something and you'll get the same result. The other big thing, especially for podcasters, that I recommend is an AC adapter for whatever camera that you have. Hopefully the camera that you have is compatible with like an AC like fake battery, but this is like the AC power adapter. And what this is like a dummy battery that you can put in your camera and plug it up. Tucks in that little gap right there so you can close the door. And literally that has been a lifesaver. The moment I discovered those, like, charging batteries were no longer my story. Like, I typically only charge batteries if I'm shooting like outdoors or something. But if I'm filming in my house, these cameras are gonna be plugged up with the AC adapter. So I strongly encourage you, especially when you're filming podcast episodes that can potentially be like long form content. These are very beneficial. The last thing I'll do is show you like the actual setup. So for lighting, I have 2 softbox lights, and these are like my OG lights. They never fail me. It's a little janky because I've had them for like 7 years, but these lights are perfect because it gives you a nice soft glow to the face, but it's not like too overpowering or anything like that. I also played with some lighting in the background behind me, and I'll show you guys a little bit more of the room setup in this next clip. So I have a 2-point lighting setup with these 2 softbox lights to the left and right of me with my camera in the center. I do have a XLR mic plugged up that I use for my audio, which I talked about earlier in this video, and it records the audio to this Zoom recorder. Of course, I'm using my Canon 80D for the visuals, and then I do have some room dividers in the background of my videos to add a little bit of texture to the scenery. And this is how I transformed a room in my house to an in-home podcast studio. The only other thing that I think helps make this filming setup super easy is this right here, which is just like a power strip or whatever. I can plug so many things into this and it's super helpful. Again, I do have a Canon Bluetooth remote that I can link for you guys, so you can start filming your content, remotely instead of having to get up and press the button. And then the other thing, I do have these little remotes here. This remote allows me to simply just turn off the lights by the click of a remote, and it just plugs into the wall. That's what it looks like, and that allows me to like cut everything on and off super easy. So yeah, that is my solo podcast studio setup. Again, if you guys are interested in seeing how I shot season 3 of the podcast, where I had 3 different camera angles, make sure you comment hashtag season 3 in the comments below so I can know you guys want to see what's the tea on how I set up the last season. I feel like the 3-angle setup definitely gives you a more dynamic viewing experience, especially during a solo podcast when you're not having any guests and you're literally just talking straight to cam. I feel like adding in angles when you do have the equipment is very beneficial to the viewer. Again, make sure you check the description box because I will link everything I mentioned in this video down below so you guys can check it out and start investing in your podcast setup. As always, I love y'all so much, and until next week. Uncut gems, uncut gems will slang your destiny.